I'm Jason Hiner. I'm here at Spiceworld 2024 with Jim Rapoza from Aberdeen Research, and we're going to talk about a panel that we did with some of the IT professionals that are here, a part of the Spiceworks community. And Jim, we got some interesting information that is both really current and a little bit back to the future about the way IT professionals are thinking about the world today and some of the challenges that they're facing and the tools that they're using to address them. You know, you started that panel talking a little bit about some research you have about IT. Maybe we could start there. You could summarize a little bit for us.
Yeah, we start with the positive stuff, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it's interesting, because obviously Spiceworld and Spiceworks, it's about, connecting IT professionals to help them solve problems, to help them figure out how to improve their IT capabilities, how to improve their business. And what we see in our research is that, businesses are looking to do that. We see that businesses are looking to modernize, they're looking to basically raise their entire IT infrastructure because they are being asked to do things like Gen AI or hybrid cloud or whatnot. And to successfully do those, you can't have parts of your infrastructure out of date. You can't use Gen AI with slow, limited storage. You can't build like a Kubernetes cloud native infrastructure with a bunch of like out of date servers and stuff that don't even know what the cloud is. So, we're seeing successful businesses modernize and really, focus on kind of achieving business outcomes they are focused on this is what's going to help improve the business overall.
Yeah.
Now there are some challenges that come with that as well.
Yeah. One of the things we heard loud and clear was that the IT honeymoon is over from the pandemic. During the pandemic, IT professionals were heroes. Yep. They helped businesses stay afloat during a very challenging period and did it very quickly in many cases over a weekend. But now it's back to the sort of the status quo where IT is having to go beg, borrow, find resources, explain themselves, and what we have is the sort of classic sort of 20 to 30 year disconnect we've had where we don't have this IT business alignment, right? What did we learn? We had two people on our panel, one from manufacturing, one from healthcare, and they were pretty clear, as well as members of the audience that are part of the Spiceworks community. They were clear that this is a big challenge for them.
Yeah, 2 years ago I did the State of IT panel here with my colleagues, and it was the state of IT was strong, and there was a lot of IT saved a lot of businesses, businesses that had to move on a dime to become remote businesses that had to move on a dime to embrace more cloud in their applications, to embrace more collaboration, and IT did that amazingly well. For the businesses that succeeded, they really saw the value. And sadly, in a lot of cases, it seems like we're into sort of what have you done for me lately kind of model.
Yes.
And it brings to fore a lot of the classic challenges of IT, that you don't want to be seen as a fireman. You don't want to be seen as the people who are just there when problems happen. And part of the problem that we heard is that a lot of these, IT, they're having a hard time making justifications to their business leaders. And a lot of it comes, and a lot of the responses aren't always the best ones.
Yes.
It's their threats, like, oh, well, if you don't do this, bad things are going to happen,
Yeah.
Or it's, or it's subterfuge, like, well, we need money for this. I even suggested that, if your boss comes to you saying, what are we doing with that Gen AI? Maybe use that as an excuse to improve other areas. Because, we can't do AI without more servers and stuff.
We can use it to do automation. If they come and say, we've got to do AI, use it to help them, invest in automation.
Improve data management, things like that.
Yes. Data lakes, other things that are going to, produce long-term results.
Yeah.
Very good. So one of the things we also heard from this crowd was that they are not communicating really well. They're struggling in communicating value and how to express value. One of the things is how to communicate risk. That if we don't do certain things, you want uptime, but in order to have uptime, there are certain risks we have. We need to invest to close the gap on those things. That's not new, right? No. IT has had this challenge for a long time.
Yeah, my colleague Derek Brink does an excellent job with this. He talks from a security standpoint, so obviously risk makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But he's very much about talking to business in ways that they understand. And it isn't just about like, oh, well, hey, well, if this bad thing happens, we're screwed.
Yeah.
It's about, well, what level of risk are you willing to be screwed?
Yeah. Yeah. What level of risk are you comfortable with?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a business conversation that business leaders often understand, where you talk about, well, here's the areas we can improve. Here's where value and outcomes matter, as opposed to not just like, we don't want to, it's not just about like, well, what happens if the hurricane comes, which was one of the problems that happened to one of our panelists, that they had to deal with hurricanes coming through. But if it's not just like, oh, well, what happens? It's like, okay, well, here's the X amount of business outcomes we can achieve through improving IT. That it reduces risk, that it increases productivity, that it helps us reach business goals, reduces costs and things like that. It's those kind of areas where, and unfortunately, you'd hope that business leaders could cross the barrier, but it really is up to, unfortunately, to IT to go most of the way, to be the vacationing traveler who goes beyond saying bonjour, merci, and learns to speak the language enough to get along. And that's where you kind of have to get to. And you don't have to become a businessman, but to be able to make your arguments in a way that business sees the value is sort of a huge part of bridging that gap.
It's true. Now, in this panel, we also talked about AI, the topic of the day. We have a whole nother video on that, which you can see, just on AI, because you did a whole session on AI as well. But this group of IT professionals that are, part of the Spiceworks community, they talked about the fact that they often will have people coming to them, saying, it's time for us to do AI. And what they're running into is that they want magical solutions. Right. They think that AI is just going to solve, everything. This is a big challenge. Like there's a disconnect between sort of this greater, wider understanding of what AI can do and can't do and what it's good for, and what the IT team can actually deliver solutions that are able to deliver, right?
Yeah, and it's not just, and we, like I said, we have a whole other video about actual practical ways to use AI and the ways that a lot of people talk about AI, which often aren't practical, which causes problems. And the other issue there, and one of our panelists talked about that, deploying Gen AI can cause problems, cause security problems, cause compliance issues. If you're in healthcare and you're applying Gen AI to patient data, to medical, prognoses and things like that.
Yes.
There's serious issues that can happen with that.
Compliance.
Serious,
And security.
And people are using AI. The bad guys are using AI to actually find vulnerable people. So there has to be this understanding that we're still early. And that's kind of the business case you have to. And I think it's something. Actually, it's funny. Typically, it's the other way around. Like, the IT guy goes to the business leaders and say, hey, we need to be doing hybrid clouds. Like, oh, we don't need to be doing that yet. Do we really need to? And then you have this case where the business leaders come going, hey, what about this Gen AI? And the IT guy goes, it's way too early. You don't need to be flying to the moon right now. Let's see what happens, and we can move when it's more mature. We can modernize and build a base for it. We can start using AI in sensible ways. But let's not, let's understand where it makes sense and where it doesn't make sense.
It kind of goes to the effectiveness of the AI marketing, because now everything that used to be machine learning, automation, algorithms, AI, Gen AI is now all AI under the umbrella.
We check the autocorrect is AI now.
Exactly. Autocorrect is now AI. It's all AI. So like we said, there is a whole nother video where we talk about that. It is the most important widespread topic of the day. Jim Rapoza, thank you. Great to have your time. And for more on this topic on IT and business, as well as AI, you can take a look at Aberdeen Research, as well as ZDNET for lots of practical use, data, and great recommendations on how to make AI and all of the most important topics of today part of your IT infrastructure, part of your business. So thanks for tuning in.